In this episode of my Godot FPS tutorial series, we're simplifying our InteractionRaycast setup into a separate InteractionRaycast component to improve on our code. These tutorials are part of a long series of FPS tutorials for the Godot engine. The link to the interaction component episode is in the description, and as always, you can grab the source files for this and all my Godot tutorials on my Patreon. Back in the interaction component episode, we used a Raycast from our player to detect when we are looking at an interactable object. The code worked fine, but was housed in our controller script and not very accessible. The goal in this episode is to separate out the Raycast interaction code so it's in its own node and script, and therefore easier to access for other functionality. In my FPS controller script, I'm looking for my camera 3D node. We want the Raycast to go out from the center of the camera, so we add a Raycast3D node as a child of our camera 3D node, so that it inherits the camera transform. In the Godot engine, our forward Z is actually negative, so I've set the target position in the Raycast node to -2 meters. You can adjust this if you want to check for collisions that are closer or further away. As a child, you'll notice the Raycast node always points in the same direction as the camera view. Next, we need a new script on our Raycast3D node that will hold our existing interaction code. In this script, we move our interaction logic from our FPS controller. We first move our interact cast result and current cast result variables, our input event function that holds our interact input command, then the interact cast and interact functions. All of these can be removed from the FPS controller after you've moved them to our new script. We do have one change to make on the interact cast function. Before, we were manually using the physics server to create a Ray query. All of that code can now be done automatically with our Raycast3D node and the line current cast result equal get collider. Then we still emit our focused and unfocused signals for our interactions. This whole episode might not feel like a big change or even a lot of work, but doing this will make it easier to use our Raycast for other functionality like picking up objects, for example, which is exactly what we're going to do in the next episode. As always, you can get these source files for everything that you saw in this video on my Patreon. I'll catch you in the next one, and as always, keep creating.